Hello there! I'm Dr. Kelly O'Donnell, a postdoc in Hilary Callahan's lab. This is the first in a series of podcasts related to the NSF-funded project, Engaging Undergraduates in Genomic Questions and Environmental Context. This podcast is a guide to the Arabidopsis planting protocols. One of the first things you'll need to do during any aspect of this project is to raise some plants to study. We have a set of phytometer lines that we'll use for calibration, and a set of knockout lines from the Salk library. All of these need to be planted to get more seeds, or to use in experiments. So let's begin. First, you'll need some soil that has been autoclaved for 20 minutes. We are using Premier ProMix BX soil. Allow it some time to cool before you start handling it. You'll need to add some water to the soil to get it to a browny consistency, wet but not muddy. Mix well with your hands. Take handfuls of soil and place them into the planters. These planters should be sitting inside mesh flat baskets, inside solid flats to allow for bottom watering. You may want to leave some outside rows of the planters empty to reduce edge effects when placed into the cooler or growth chamber. Here we are leaving 2 rows empty at the bottom. Before getting down to planting, you will want to create labels for the entire flat that you'll be planting so you don't have to stop what you're doing to create a new label every time. You also want to gather all of your materials that you'll need before you start. A white sheet of paper makes it easier to find drop seeds. A folded piece of waxed whey paper will be how you will get seeds from the desk to the soil. A small, thin-bristled paintbrush is useful for returning extra seeds to their tubes. Now you can start planting. Grab the first label and make sure it matches the name and number on the first Eppendorf tube. There are several ways to get the seeds carefully out of the tubes and onto the whey paper. Remember, we are only planting 7 seeds per tube. Here in the Callahan lab, we like to get the seeds into the cap, then gently open the tube and tap the cap so the seeds fall onto the whey paper. Any extra seeds that fall out can then be carefully picked up with a paintbrush, or, if too many come out, you can use the whey paper to put them all back in the tube and start over again. Once you have 7 seeds on your whey paper, close the cap of the tube and set it down. Take the folded paper and carefully bring it to the soil. Gently tap the paper to distribute the seeds evenly over the surface of the soil in the cell. Be careful not to dump all the seeds in one place. You'd like them to come up looking like this, rather than this. Only after you've put the seeds in should you place the tag in. This is a way to keep track of where you've actually planted seeds. After you've planted the whole tray, place a germination dome over the tray and put the whole thing into the incubator. Keep them at 5 degrees Celsius in the incubator for 10 days. After 10 days, take them out and move them into the growth chamber. If they haven't started already, the plants should start coming up within the next few days. At that point, you will be transplanting them from the germination trays to the trays that can be put in the greenhouse or growth chamber. We will now quickly go over the transplantation protocol. You will need a new set of flats and soil. Follow the same procedure we outlined earlier for preparing the flats. You will also need new tags, 1 new tag for each germinate, because we'll be transplanting each one into its own cell. For now, we plan to have 3 Arabidopsis seedlings per line. Mark the tags to indicate that they have been transplanted. Getting the germinates out requires care. Do not grab them by their hypocotyls, they are very delicate. You will need to use forceps in a scooping motion from underneath to get them out of the soil. If you have 2 that are close together, remove them as a clump and gently tease them apart. We are trying to semi-randomly distribute the transplants into the flats. If you plant 1 seedling from one line into an edge cell, put the next one from that line into the center. That's 2 then removed from the original cell. The third plant will be the one that's left behind. You will have to thin out the other germinates so that there is just 1 left. Try to keep the largest or the most central germinant and discard the rest. Once your flat is filled with transplants, put it in the growth chamber or the greenhouse.